everyone. Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker training. I am Richard Carlton, creator of FMTrain.tv, where every day at 1 o'clock we are doing great training and conversing and learning and educating about the Claris FileMaker platform. So before we dive into HOnza, let's take a look at the upcoming broadcast schedule. See, there it went fast that time. So today we have party favors with HOnza, whatever that means. I have no idea really what he's doing. This is how you support the channel. It's optional. You can still enjoy the channel, enjoy my love free of charge. But if you want me to love you even more when I'm not on the show, we greatly appreciate the people who pay a couple bucks. All right, so with that in mind, I'm going to pivot to HOnza.
Today I'm going to do something quite risky. I'm going to show you how crazy I really am. So in the end, there is a chance that no one will want to do business with me anymore.
Okay, so why don't you share your screen if that's what we're going to do, or are we ready for that yet?
I'll start in a moment because I first want to show something physically before I show the screen.
Okay.
But let me start with where this idea, what I'm going to talk about, started. I like TV competition shows. Do you like those, like trivia or Jeopardy or things like that?
Oh, you mean like a reality TV show like that?
I mean like people, two or more people competing about like kind of knowledge in certain area.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. In a funny way, enjoying it and so on.
Oh,
and
good.
one of those that I really like is when there are two teams competing with each other. And there are things like, well, there is pictures of two people blended together, and they are supposed to guess what those people are. And what I really like there is when they have like button that they have to press in order to take the lead. Who first knows who's on the picture has to press the button. The first.
Oh yeah, it's like the Jeopardy button there. Yeah, buzz. Yes.
And the first person pressing the button has the first try to answer, and when they answer correctly, they get the points. So I like these kinds of shows, but I would never go to the TV. I don't like millions of people watching me fail. But on the other side, I like to mimic these kinds of games in like small company, like family parties or things like that. And last year I got the idea, how about creating one game where people will be guessing movies by music? So I would play a music sample and they would be guessing what the movie the music is from. Because there are some quite iconic film music scores, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when the Christmas vacation started and I had some free time, instead of like just watching TV or movies or something like that, what I really did is I started working on this this nice game. So
there we go.
This is what I came up with. You probably recognize this default theme which comes with FileMaker. That's just a interface for me to edit all the contents, and I created this this solution like probably within 2 days, not counting the fine tuning that followed after testing it. But then I spent the whole Christmas vacation actually finding good content for it, and I ended up having 310. Music samples from different movies and TV shows.
All right.
I categorized them into 5 different categories. 2 of them are Czech movies and Czech TV shows. Because it's for family and friends here in Czech Republic. The other 2 are for us foreign, but most of them are typically coming from the US or UK. And so this is what I collected for each movie: the Czech title, original title, the category. So I collected these samples like this one. And I was trying to find those really most iconic ones, which you recognize in like 2 seconds, you know? So this is what I collected. So many samples, like the Back to the Future, for instance.
Yep.
And then I built this interface, which I can get to here. And that's for actual controls. I even to make it even more fancy, like using it with projector, I created another screen so that I could have one layout for me to control and where I can see the correct answer before it's being guessed. And then I can have the guesses, the screen where people will only see the movie when it's finally guessed. And I can just, let's say, I'll try to find some English samples or foreign for us, movies, and go to controls. So now I can just start it and can play something, and you can guess what it is from.
Okay.
So let's go to another sample.
That's that Disney movie.
The Lion King, right?
Yeah.
I think.
Yep. Yep.
Correct.
All
So but this was just a start, and I really wanted to replicate that kind of TV show atmosphere, the feel. So that's why I was looking for a way how to implement the buttons. I got the idea. Well, FileMaker can be controlled with keyboard, right? You can have a layout keyboard shortcut. So I actually added some keystroke controls, so I can control the whole game from a keyboard. Also added like keys for players. So let's say A would be Richard. B could be Margaret.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
now you can compete if
Okay.
you have access to my keyboard, because then you can press the key to that you want to answer the guest.
Okay.
And now the idea I got was, okay, so let's try to find on the internet a button, smart button that can connect over Bluetooth and work just like a keyboard.
Okay.
Then this would work, right? I was searching a little bit, and the first I found that was promising was this flick button.
Okay.
Okay, so this has different modes, but it supports Bluetooth 4, and
Okay.
it can actually be configured to work as a Bluetooth keyboard. But I don't know if luckily or unluckily, but they didn't have it on stock in any of the near shops for me, and I'm really impatient. I wanted to try to push it forward in days, not in weeks. So I started looking for a different way. And also what I disliked on this button is, imagine you are in this kind of game, emotions go up, and you really want to be the first one pressing the button, right? So how many times do you think you can press this button before you break it?
Well, or the battery goes dead or whatever, right? Yeah. So so we need a more reliable, beefy button is what we need.
So I was looking for, I was thinking more like this kind of button. I don't know if you can show me, or I can actually, I have a iPhone prepared here.
There
I
it
can
is.
do it this way.
Okay, there we go.
So this is the real robust button that normally is used in like to switch on lights and things like that. This was the thing that I wanted to create, And so instead of looking for ready-to-use button, I started looking for something needed for me to create one.
Okay.
And after some time, I found this nice single chip small computer,
Okay.
just $10,
Okay.
which has Bluetooth support.
Okay.
I was also considering one other option, but that also had Wi-Fi, and I read some reviews that because of having Wi-Fi and Bluetooth at the same time, it's interfering a little bit between each other. So I found a recommendation that this one, which has Bluetooth only, could be more reliable. And they had it on stock in our local shop for geeks. So I ordered, I think originally two of them to start playing with them. And now I was looking for a way how to actually make it work. I almost like was thinking, okay, this will involve some C++ programming and things like that. But then I found this nice thing. It's called CircuitPython. And I discovered that this board actually is compatible with it. And the way I can install the CircuitPython on it as a firmware is just I connect this thing with a USB-C cable to my computer.
Okay.
It appears and just press a small button here in the corner twice. This is the button. And when I press it twice, it appears on the desktop as an external drive.
Oh, that's cool.
And when I drag and drop a firmware file on it, it will install that firmware. So this is the firmware. So I just could drag and drop this on that external drive. The external drive would disappear. And in like 5 seconds, it would appear again, but with a different name. The name was like CircuitPython.
Okay.
And I can show it. I can just take one of those buttons now and connect it to my computer so you can see it. Okay, now I connected it. And here you can see external drive.
Okay.
And when I open that drive, there is one single file called code.py.
Okay.
And that's a very simple Python script. Initially, it has just like 3 lines. And this Python script controls what that board does. So I wrote this code, which is just
You just bang that out in about 5 minutes, right? No big deal.
143 lines only. So it's not a long script, and it basically does 3 things. One thing is
Margaret's laughing at you. It's not a very long script. Margaret's laughing at you.
so one thing that there are two. There's one input which I connected to the button, and I'm just in that script. In a loop, I'm checking whether that button is pressed or not pressed. Here's the loop and button pressed, and I'm checking whether the button is pressed. And then the other thing is, okay, when I press it, I send the keyboard event over Bluetooth to the connected device. And the other thing which I added is when I hold the button for some time, it just restarts. So that's just some extra stuff, and also some LED light indication what the button is actually doing. So the configuration is on these 5 lines. So
I have I need to ask an important question. So this little chip on the little board with the USB, is that like an Arduino or what's the other Raspberry Pi?
Yes, something like that, but even a little bit more lightweight than, or maybe it's equally lightweight as Arduino. So it's a similar thing.
But it's on one chip on one card on one little board.
Exactly.
Okay. Wow.
And with just these 5 lines, I can configure how it behaves. So on basically these 2 lines, I set this button A, and I built 4 these buttons. So A, B, C, D.
Okay.
And these 2 lines are the only difference between those 4 buttons. I have the D button disassembled here, so I can show you what's inside. And to make it nice, there was one more component, and that's the... Okay, so this is the button. And this thing is a 3D printed bottom to hold that card here, that board.
Okay, so and is that a battery down there? Is that a what is that, a one?
This is a battery holder for two AAA
AAAs. So this
and,
computer, oh, it's running on USB, but USB is 5 volts. Wait a minute.
Well, this board actually has a very nice spec. It can run. It can be powered from as high as, I think, 8 volts maximum, I believe.
And as low as?
And as low as 1.8 or something like that.
Oh, okay. Well, two AAA batteries will do that. Okay.
Yes, exactly. And standard voltage that it normally operates on is 3.3, but if it goes below 3, it still works.
Okay.
So this is a power switch between the battery and the board.
Okay.
And the board itself is hidden here. I don't want to break it, so I will not take it out, but I can try to move it a little.
Well, we know what it looks like when we saw that other picture, right? So
yes.
Okay.
This just shows how small it is. Okay.
Yeah. Well, so it had a bunch of little solder connections around the edge. So 2 of the solder connections are for your positive and negative leads off your battery. Another 2 solder connections were for the light, right? The LED light or something, right?
No, the LED is actually built on that board.
Oh, okay.
So there is a cluster of 3 colored LEDs. So you have one red, one green, and one blue.
Okay. And that comes as part of the board, is what you're saying?
Yes, that's on the board.
Okay.
So here I also added light lead, so that the light from the LED goes out, and this is a hole for the USB-C connection for the case I want to.
Did you print this yourself, or did you get someone else to print this for you?
Yes, I 3D printed this.
Okay.
And to know which button is which one, I also put the embossed.
Oh, version D.
Yeah.
Okay.
So on the ABC, I can show you how it works. So when I just turn this on, it starts blinking.
Okay.
Now it's starting up.
Oh.
When it's green, it's waiting for a connection, and when it's blue, it's connected. So now it's connected to my computer.
Okay.
And I can show you that when I press the button, I'll just put it so that we can see both things.
So it's emulating a keyboard, right? So it's
when I press it, you see it's typing A.
So you built your own wireless keyboard.
Exactly.
So how many of these can you connect to your Bluetooth at one time? How many devices like this?
Well, it depends on what the computer supports, but I believe officially it should support 5. So that's why I built 4 buttons, because I can have 1 keyboard and 4 buttons. So this is the B one, so I can connect the...
So David Angel has a question. He has great questions here. When you press the button, we'll close the circuit to one of the pins on the board. I believe that's yes.
Yes, it will actually connect one of the inputs to the minus, to the negative.
Negative, okay. The board sees it with the loop of that Python and then executes that push of that text, right?
Exactly. So here, basically in that loop, I'm checking whether the button is pressed, and then there is a state automaton which switches between 3 different states, released, holding, and pressed. So pressed is when it has just been pressed. Holding is when I keep the button pressed for more than I think 0.2 of a second. And when I keep holding it for more than 5 seconds, then it just restarts the whole thing. So when it's just pressed, it's sending a button pressed. Button pressed, and it's sending this button release, and this is button press. So it's sending the keyboard. So when it's released and the button is pressed, then it changes the status from released to pressed and sends the button pressed event to the computer.
Okay.
And when it's pressed and I release it, then it sends that the button is released to over the Bluetooth. So that's how it works. So when I now have the two buttons, I can do B, A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. And that's how the buttons work. So when I switch back to FileMaker, and I start, I go to the next. Oh, I ran out of time. Let's start again, because I have a time limit in that game as well.
Okay.
So I can go to the next one. Hey, who knows what it is?
So
let's say Richard knows.
okay. I press the button. Monsters.
You
Okay.
press the button, and then this is what you see, the right window, and this is what I see to control it. So time limit. And if you lose, then it keeps playing, and Margaret can press the button and guess what it is.
So this is like there's a thing that people can play on the internet. Sometimes we do this for Christmas parties or something called Jackbox. It's this kind of online community gaming thing. But you've built the whole thing within FileMaker 1 and 2 with this hardware, which is actually pretty neat. I think it's neat. Questions from people about this?
Question: how many clicks do you get per 2 AAA batteries, if you happen to know?
How long does it run before it's dead? I think it's a better question.
I don't know yet, because I've put in these batteries in January and they're still alive. And I have tried it. I have tried it several times with different groups of people who are my beta testers. Yeah, it has been used for maybe total 5, 6, 7 hours or so.
Okay.
Can you overclock the thing? Well, I assume he's asking if you can press the button too many times in one short period.
Why? What for? Why? Why I would want to overclock it? It's fast enough for me, so why I would want to overclock it?
Yeah, Ruben's just talking about it. I mean, it's kind of interesting. I mean, I for me, doing 3D printing and stuff is great. The problem with me is that I always try to build parts for either a helicopter or something else, and I need 3D printing that prints metal, and the problem is that stuff's real expensive still. So
yeah, that is.
All right, just zap it with 230 volts. The Python code is in memory waiting to execute. David Angel, I think it's just looping. Can you go back to Python code and just show us that?
Yes,
I think it's
actually looping, and to save batteries, I have like sleep, like 200 milliseconds sleep there, so it doesn't loop like at full speed, but there is a.
So it's underclocked almost a little bit, right? You've slowed it, yeah, kind of, not really.
And one of the beauties of this board is it actually tries to save power as much as it can. So if you actually do sleep, it really lowers the power consumption to absolute minimum. And actually, the current consumption at the minimum is in microamperes.
Just a question from someone about how the Python is interacting with FileMaker.
Well, the Python is not interacting with FileMaker. The Python is actually controlling the board, and the board is connected through Bluetooth and acting as a Bluetooth keyboard. There are two libraries from Adafruit which I'm using. One is BLE library, which handles the Bluetooth connection, and then there is a HID library which handles the keyboard simulation.
Yeah, so for those of you trying to wrap your head around this, can you show the button, show the button again on your camera with your iPhone, if you could do that real quick. What you're looking at here is a wireless keyboard with one button on it. That he built a wireless key, like go to the store, give me a wireless keyboard. And it's a single button wireless keyboard. So when he pushes that, it just squirts text on screen like it was typed up. That's all it's doing. So you could put this in Word. Open up Word. Go open Word. Open Pages. Open Excel. That's the thing with this. It works a lot like a barcode reader, scanner, a laser USB barcode. They just generally try to type stuff in. So it's basically emulating it can send a string of text to the Python or a single character. He's sending a single character because he doesn't need any more than that. But yeah,
Okay,
that's how that works.
This is not a good example, but in the text editor you can see what it's doing. So when I press the button,
oh, it quit going. Is it off?
Wait a minute.
Hello?
So this may be the time to actually reset it. So
I'm gonna hold it down, and
this has happened in the past, specifically in when we played this game in the office. So one button was doing this. I had a hunch that it might be because it ran low on power.
oh, of course, their battery runs out on live TV. Perfect.
But it might actually be something else. It might be that there was a Bluetooth interference because we had a lot of different Bluetooth devices there. But this one keeps working, so it may actually be battery problem. So this one keeps working. So when I press this one,
Oh yeah, it's working there.
So
well, it's truly impressive. You've done a lot with the wireless tech. It's pretty interesting. You've got customers who've done this. Ruben says, I wonder if it'll work with an iPad as a host. It should.
Yes, it does, and actually I was first testing it with iPad, and when I got it working with iPad, then I switched to Mac and created this additional layout. So originally I had only one layout, and I optimized it to work on iPad and iPhone. Because when I tested it first with a group of people, it was at like in a restaurant when we sat around the table, and I just pull out the iPhone and run it on iPhone in FileMaker Go.
All right, so David Angel just asked if it'd run with a CR2035 battery. As long as the battery stays above, say, 2 volts and below 8 volts, it should be fine. I don't know what the voltage of that.
Well, officially, it's good to have 3.3. So if you have a 3.3 or 3.6 volt battery, that's better.
Yeah, you're going to need at least 2 of the batteries.
Yeah.
If it's, I don't know which of these is the CR.
The board actually have different ways how to connect batteries. So on the back, you can either connect even a rechargeable battery, because this one has also built-in recharging control and monitor.
Oh, if you plug it into USB, you could. Oh, yeah, that would make sense.
So if you connect the rechargeable battery to these 2 pins, then it also manages charging the battery. And then on the 3.3, you can connect between GND and 3.3, or around 3 volts power source, or you can use this pin in the top, and that's for 5 volts USB. Or you can just connect it to USB instead of turning on battery. I can just put it on the USB. And it will work again. It will work as well. So let me bring it back. So now it's connected to USB.
Well, I think that the technology demonstrator is pretty neat.
No, this is actually honestly insanely cool, HOnza. It's a very cool. It's cool to see FileMaker used in fun ways that isn't just database, because it's so much capable of more. Richard is currently obsessed with batteries, so he's returning back with batteries. Other questions, other comments? Oh, someone was asking what exactly is the board that you used?
So it's called Seed Studio. They have different versions. So this one is with an RF 52840 chip. This is the chip that actually provides the functionality and
The Bluetooth connection?
has the Bluetooth built into it. And this small blue thing here is the Bluetooth antenna. So that's another neat thing. It has a built-in Bluetooth antenna as well. So I don't have to do anything except the 3 wires to the batteries and to the button and nothing else. Normally, when you get a board like this, you typically need to at least connect also external Bluetooth or Wi-Fi antenna to make the communication work. And this one is neat because it has Bluetooth antenna on it. Well, actually, for me, it was a lot of fun and playing with it. Spent like maybe 5 hours with soldering those small wires. And I actually had to use my iPhone as a magnifying glass because it was so tiny.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I like about the larger deals over here, because as I solder and stuff, I don't have to have they're not microscopic in nature. So yeah, but yeah, I buy hundreds of cells. Typically they're overproduction runs and they're pretty high output. Like each of these cells will continuously output 50 amps of power. If anyone knows how much amps, most of the time you don't have anything in your house that pulls that kind of power unless it's like the hot water heater or something like that. So yeah. All right, cool. Well, this is pretty neat stuff. I got to think about how I want to use this, right? Because for me, it's like, okay, how do I want to do this? And the little devices, they have to be kind of, to me, I'd rather have them almost hardwired to a point, because I always have such bad luck with wireless. Like he had his little problem with wireless, but for me, that's like happens enough that it makes me wish it was wired a little bit. So I don't do too much of the wireless stuff, but I could see that being very valuable in this case. Could you plug this in, but it's not, will it run the keyboard through the USB if you plug it in, or is it only, does the broadcast of the string only go through Bluetooth?
I have not checked whether it can also operate as a Bluetooth keyboard, but because it does have a Bluetooth interface there, it might be possible to just switch it to use the Bluetooth for like a Bluetooth device. USB to USB
Well,
device.
if you were doing a Jeopardy TV show or something like that on live TV, you wouldn't want Bluetooth going sideways on a live audience with millions and millions of dollars on there. You'd want it all wired up. So the chances of failure are much lower.
By the way, if I was doing it this way, then I would just use, instead of one board for each button, I would just use one board for all the buttons and just hardwire those buttons to those individual pins.
Okay.
Or I could use fidgets. If I was doing this for a TV show where the reliability is extremely important, then I would definitely use probably fidgets and hardwire it and connect it to the computer by wires. But this is cool because it works with iPad, iPhone, so I can just take it with me to a vacation anywhere and just take it out and play with it with the family.
That's very cool. Definitely cool. So any other questions? Is there anything on your website? I mean, this is a really neat solution. Does any of your plugins on your website help us with this at all? Or is this is completely outside the realm of
well,
for you?
This is not using plugins at all. It's just a pure FileMaker, but it's still like you can get inspiration from whatever we have on the website, because we do a lot of hardware stuff, we do a lot of FileMaker stuff, and you can take it from 2 different perspectives. You can look at it and say, okay, how could I use it? Or you can just come up with, okay, this is what I would like to do. And then we can take it as a task and just find a solution. And that's and because we have done so many different hardware integrations, I can say that if it's doable, we can do it.
Okay. Okay.
So that's the point.
That's
So
pretty slick stuff.
if you want wireless, we can make it wireless. If you want wired, we can make it wired. If you want Bluetooth, we can make Bluetooth. If you want Wi-Fi, we can make it work over Wi-Fi, anything.
Dean says, I think it'd be good if we collect ideas in the future to discuss together integration of hardware and FileMaker. Yeah, could be. That's a whole sub little conversation of itself to collect ideas and discuss integration. Yeah, because he's got a lot of hardware integration here on 2.4U. So this is pretty neat. So
yeah, the point is just don't limit your imagination. If you have something physical that you want to deal with, and that physical thing is something that you either want to capture data from or you want to control it from based on data, that's two kinds of hardware integrations. And basically any hardware and software integration can be categorized either as like gathering data from the physical world or controlling the physical world with data. And that's what we do.
yeah, well, I'm open for ideas, collecting ideas together on hardware. HOnza does some of the most hardware integration I've seen with various devices. So he's got some interesting stuff here on that. So, but yeah, it's one of those things I'm trying to figure out where the practical use cases for it. RFC. In fact, we talked about that one time doing the RFC and scanning the boxes and things like that, and scanning all the things in the boxes without opening the boxes, which is really a big supply chain management thing, especially pushed by people like Walmart, stuff like that. Pretty impressive
And
stuff.
we already have many examples in our news page. So when you go to our website and go to news, you can just go here and click on hardware. And there are many different examples of hardware integrations.
If anyone has questions, you want to support HOnza, support 2.4U, I highly recommend it. If you're trying to build an iOS application, you want some help doing that from someone who does quite a bit of that, check out 2.4U. They have the Go Zert or Yogurt or Xcode. There it is, right there. So there's a lot of cool things that HOnza builds, it develops. I've met with some of his customers here. His customers are very happy with him. And I want to reward his hard work in coming to the show here to tell us all about this hardware. It's very, very cool. In fact, this one right here, I think some of you probably need this. Building an iOS application, getting it published to Apple. And this is, if you use his tech here, it helps make it easier for you to get your application into the store. Less time, less days, probably less expensive, probably overall. Thanks, HOnza. Great stuff. That's what Ruben says. Good to know. Sell no and yes out clients, and now maybe we have a tool for boxes. Yeah, very cool, very good stuff. So anyway, yeah, no, HOnza's great. His customers love him, which is always a good thing to see. Very good, HOnza. I like this. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.